So, thank you for your decision of hearing me out today. Today I'm going to prove that Leonora Ashburnham is guilty for the death of Florence Dowell. Now it is true that they had few problems in the Dow families and the Ashburnham families, but those cannot defy the fact that Leonora cornered Florence to suicide with an intention to kill, which can be accused of murder in the second degree. On page 84 of the novel, I wish you would go with these two. I think the girl ought to have the appearance to be chaperoned in these places. I think the time has come. This is a quote by Leonora to Florence, who suicided at the night before Florence suicided. Florence listened to Leonora from her desperate love toward Edward Ashburnham, and they heard the conversation, Florence heard the conversation of Nancy Rufford and Edward Ashburnham, which gave a huge impact to Florence because even though she loved Edward so much, Edward didn't actually love her back, and then which could corner her into very dangerous place as a mental stability, I think. So this is one of the proof which you could say that Leonora cornered Florence. That's one. And so we are going to talk about Leonora in her younger age. She lived in a house with her family and was isolated from ordinary living. So she did not, unfortunately, have enough knowledge about what you could call the ordinary romance. And this led to Leonora and Edward's odd way of loving. Edward and Leonora didn't have they loved each other, but soon they started not to love each other because no matter how much Leonora tried to love Edward and did lots of things for him, that did not make Edward love her back, which gradually made their relationships very bad. And unfortunately, soon Edward made affairs with other women like Mrs. Basil, La Dolcecchia, I think. And those were the reasons. The fact that Leonora thought Edward would eventually love her back was the reason why she allowed the affairs with other women. But unfortunately, things turned out the opposite way for Edward. And then Leonora started giving up something with her husband. More distance is between them. Although she consented herself that other women was needed for her husband, it was also true that she was stressed more and more. And on page 47, she just boxed Mrs. Maiden's ears. Yes, she hit her in an uncontrollable access of rage. A hard blow on the side of the cheek. This happened when Maisie Maiden came out from their house. And Florence thought that Maisie Maiden was a new woman for Edward, and she just slapped her because she was so enraged that she couldn't endure the stresses that she had grew up inside her without not letting anyone else know. and eventually this could turn into intention of killing. If you read on the book, you will see that at the end of the book novel, on page 188, it's a long quote, so I cut it out. But she considered it to, and then to pray to his sexual necessities, like the other groups used to. This proves that Leonora Ashburnham, I won't say forced, but made the woman for Edward Ashburnham like an item for him, to not let them feel that they're women. Almost just using them for an item that she can use, which was brought from the fact that Florence hated Leonora and Leonora hated Florence. So the fact that Leonora already chose to be merciless against those who mocked her and took her away from Edward, like for example Florence, made her to grow intention for killing within her, and then eventually that led to the cornering of Florence's suicide. Thank you.
I will be defending Leonora. So first, on page 84, she mentions, "I wish you would go with those two. I think the girl ought to have an appearance of being chaperoned with Edward in these places. I think the time has come." And this shows or explains that Edward is taking Nancy to a place that is not safe for a girl in her teens. And so Leonora suggested Florence to actually chaperone. She mentioned the word chaperone, to actually look out for them as they go. At the same time, during this time, on page 93, it says Leonora has asked Florence almost immediately after the departure to follow them and to perform the office of chaperone. Florence, you may also remember, was all in black, being the mourning that she wore for her deceased cousin Jean Herbert. This shows that Leonora is not in a state of going outside and chaperoning along with Edward and Nancy, because she is upset and sad because of the death of her cousin. There's no way she could be in a state of murdering someone at this time. Then after the death of Florence, Leonora began to put the leash upon Nancy Rufford and Edward. If Leonora wants Florence to die, wouldn't her motive to be that she wants to be with Edward? Then why, after the death of Florence, is she putting Nancy in front of her for Edward? So this states that she is not doing this out of herself, and she's doing it out of different motive. So her causing the death of Florence cannot be backed up by it.
So a few points of your defense. When you said unexplained the meaning of chaperone, the word chaperone, the reason they used the word chaperone was because they lived together, and Edward and Leonora acted like a parent of Nancy Rufford. So there would be no special meaning to it. If they just go outside, that can be counted as chaperone. But and it would not deny the fact that Edward and Nancy, well, might have had things. So, uh, so just saying that chaperone doesn't deny that they could have had a love affair. And also, when you said Leonora was not in a state to go outside for chaperone, and why would she let Nancy go near Edward after Florence's death? Like I said in my first accusation, if Leonora saw women who got near Edward as an item, or not just as a girl, it would not affect any of her problem, because it's not like she has distanced away more or anything. It's just that, I know this is a not good word, but Florence just changed into Nancy, and it's like item A to item 2 or something like that. So if she didn't feel anything toward them, maybe like any emergency or anything, then it would not mean anything for her. So yeah, that's it.
Can you repeat what you
Okay, hold on. So your defense was that after killing Florence, wouldn't she be jealous that Nancy got close to her or something like that? Yeah, I think. Did I get that correct?
Why would Florence be jealous of Nancy? Isn't what you're trying to say?
I think.
Because what I said was, there's no way Florence, after the death of Florence, Nancy Leonora put Nancy with Edward.
Yeah.
It was her motive. So why would Leonora be jealous of Nancy when she was the one who pushed Nancy and Edward together?
I'm not saying that she's jealous of Nancy, but she just sees Nancy and not Florence, because she hated her from all those words from her, but she just saw Nancy as a perfect item to claim Edward, like, so that she can get Edward in control. She just used Nancy as a tool. So she won't feel anything against Nancy, or she will not feel any jealous. But if Nancy goes away, then Leonora knew that Edward could be heartbroken, so she just told her to stay and keep in touch.
So she told Florence to
Nancy.
She told Nancy to stay.
Yeah.
So she let Edward and Nancy go together.
Yes.
So. Yeah. So then she let Florence chaperone along with her because she was not able to attend along with them. So Leonora was not in a mental state that she's able to go along with Edward and Nancy. So instead, she put Florence to go along with them.
Well, there was no sense of need to actually send anyone to see Nancy and Edward, unless Leonora thought that they would be in danger for herself. Like, maybe they could go off together with Edward. Well, if Nancy were to put Edward away from Leonora, then she would feel danger, so she might have had to go close to her.
But Leonora's motive to send Florence was because she said that the appearance of being chaperoned with Edward in these places. So she knows where they are going, and she is afraid of something dangerous to happen because it is also a place where it's at night. It's near the casino, so that's why she actually put Florence to go instead of her.
So you're saying that Leonora sent Florence to keep them safe?
Yes.
Well, Edward was a soldier, and then Florence is just a woman. So isn't it more dangerous to send somebody there?
So Leonora is sending them so they will all be together as one in a group.
But it would be more safe if Florence just stayed here.
Well, Florence went anyway, but
Yeah, because she sent her to watch the scene, and then.
well, she didn't say watch the scene. She said chaperone. So
Well, she knew that they were gonna see the scene anyway. If she didn't want them to see the scene, then she could have sent Florence at the same time Edward and Nancy went. So if she sent at the timing, then maybe she wanted them to see the scene, wanted Florence to see Leonora's. Edward and Nancy's affair. Give up. Yeah, okay.
If you leave the court.
no, I just it's okay.
It's okay. Are you okay?